Greetings, reelers. My name is Philip, and together with my wife Sherry and two of our friends, Chris and James, we're Fellowship of the Reel. Four people who love talking about movies almost as much as we do watching them. We hope you will join us as we dig deep into cinematic masterpieces and some that are, well, maybe not. You have an opportunity to be the fifth host of our little show. Click the link in the show notes and leave us a voice message telling us what movie you would like us to review. You can also reach out on our Facebook page, Fellowship of the Reel. From all of us at Fellowship of the Reel, thanks for listening. Okay, on with the show. At this point in the movie, I'm like, okay, well, here's what you should have done. And I'm thinking...
Yeah, right. It's one of my favorite openings ever.
And I've watched that alternate ending, and it is garbage.
It doesn't go where you think it's going to go.
There's a monster. I'm ready for it to be over.
Well,
But I'm not sure I can even fully explain why I love this movie so much.
I had some issues with the scene.
My feelings on it have not changed.
I fell asleep until the screaming. This is actually where I started enjoying the movie.
This is one of my favorite scenes in all of cinema.
I thought that should have been cut completely.
Fine.
Well, I'm sure it's artistic and you just don't get it. Greetings, reelers. Thanks for sticking around for the second part of this special episode featuring Evening with John Cusack and 16 Candles. We join our regularly scheduled program, already in progress, with Sherry and her notable quotables.
So y'all ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Okay. This is different. This is going to be easy, but these are all John Cusack quotes.
Ooh.
Okay.
You just have to guess the movie, but you also have to give me time to read the whole thing because these are, I guess y'all were talking about examples of his acting or whatever. These are long.
Okay.
So
Give it
but
a shot.
I
Well,
found
give us
them
time to think about it, because...
Yeah, but I found them interesting because I can hear him saying
Yeah, sure.
them. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, the first one. What came first, the music or the misery? People worry about kids playing with guns or watching violent videos, that some sort of culture of violence will take them over. Nobody worries about kids listening to thousands, literally thousands of songs about heartbreak, rejection, pain, misery, and loss. Did I listen to pop music because I was miserable? Or was I miserable because I listened to pop music?
Yeah, that's high fidelity. I didn't get it till
Most
the end.
likely. High fidelity. Yeah.
I figured, but when he started
my
saying,
guess,
did
but I
I
didn't.
did I listen? That last part of the quote nailed it. I remember that.
Yeah.
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 That's it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my guess, but I was not sure at all.
Yeah. I wasn't sure until that. I assumed, but that last line, I remember him saying that. Yeah, that cinched it. Another high fidelity. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. Next one. Long one. Let me finish it.
Okay.
I just honestly don't know what I have in common with those people anymore, with anyone, really. I mean, they'll all have husbands and wives and children and houses and dogs, and they'll have made themselves a part of something, and they can talk about what they do. And what am I going to say? I killed the president of Paraguay with a fork. How have you been? I just think it'll be depressing.
Yeah. No.
Gross point blank.
Yeah. I couldn't get
It
that
got
last
me,
one.
that last bit, the killed the president.
With
of
a
Uruguay.
Paraguay with a fork. Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you been? I just think it would
Yeah,
be
that's
depressing.
10 years. You disappeared for 10 years,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to
Jeremy-
say I
Jeremy-
joined the army?
Jeremy Piven. Yeah.
People-
I have a certain moral ambiguity.
Yeah.
He says they sensed I had a moral ambiguity. I love that line.
When he got to his house, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing here? I work here, man."
Yeah, it's a 7-Eleven.
Tore down his house. It's like,
His parents sold it or something.
yeah,
Oh, God.
you can never go home, right?
No.
All right, last one. And this is not the most famous line. I'll discuss that in a minute. But it is a line that he says. Okay. Two brothers. One speaks no English. The other learned English from watching the wild world of sports. The wide world of sports. So you tell me, which is better, speaking no English at all or speaking Howard Cosell?
Better Off Dead.
Yeah. Did you know that, Chris? Yeah.
No, I didn't know that one.
Oh, you
Better
didn't
Off
know that?
Dead is a fantastic
Yeah.
movie.
And of course, we learned from our little
Field trip.
Q&A. Yeah, our field trip that I want my $2.
Yeah, that's
is
the
apparently
thing.
everyone's
Oh, I
favorite
love-
line of all time.
Yeah.
But
Have you seen that movie, Chris?
I haven't actually.
You never seen Better Off
Dude.
Dead?
No.
oh
okay.
my gosh.
Okay. I've only recently seen it, and
Yeah.
I've probably watched it now 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
It is goofy, funny. It's just enough absurdity
Yeah.
to make you go, okay, this is an absurd movie, but it's not over the top. It's a fun, quirky 80s movie. It's a ski movie.
Yeah. Go
You know,
that way fast.
The big thing at
Yeah,
the
oh,
end
that's-
is you've got to ski the hill to beat the bad guy to get the girl.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was
Okay.
one of the lines I was going to do is go that way very fast. If something gets in your way, turn.
Turn.
Yeah. And then he ends up being chased by this kid for his $2.
Yeah,
And he
because
skis-
the newspaper bill has come due.
he skis the hill with one ski.
Yes.
Not only saying that it's an impossible impossible hill to ski, and anybody that's ever done it is died, and the one guy that's done it that's survived is the guy you're racing.
Nice.
And the kid chases him on the bike down the hill.
And he rides it down
Oh,
with
my
one
$2.
ski. Essentially saying he can do it and better. It's absurd.
We're looking at it on the way home. Stace was looking at Cusack's movies or whatever, and we were talking about a bunch of different ones to
Yeah.
watch. And yeah,
That's
that was
the
one of them, yeah.
That
everybody
is
wants some Van
definitely
Halen dream sequence is very cool.
Yeah, it really is. He has a Dr. Frankenstein thing. He's making hamburger monsters.
Yeah, and they come alive, and there's everybody wants some by Van Halen plays, and it's like the hamburger's playing Eddie Van Halen's
Yeah.
Frankenstein guitar. Or whatever.
It's silly.
And his mom.
Oh, yeah. At some point,
Oh, the food that
yeah,
crawls off the
yeah.
plate.
At some point, this gelatinous mass starts crawling off the plate across the desk, across the table that she's cooked. Apparently, has come alive.
Well, he goes, what did you do to the bacon? Well, you said you didn't like the greasy bacon, so I boiled
Yeah,
it.
there's these green strips of meat, boiled bacon,
Oh, God.
French fries, French toast.
And their Christmas presents are all frozen TV dinners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
French
He puts
fries,
that-
French toast,
that-
French dressing, French.
Well, because there's an
girl's
exchange
French.
student that living with the neighbors across the
neighbors.
street who are ultimately creepy, and the international language of love.
Ricky.
Ricky, yeah. Ugh.
Ricky turned out to be a pederast.
Really, in real life?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, allegedly.
Sure.
Sorry. He was a big shot producer for Nickelodeon.
Really?
He did iCarly. He did several of those shows.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's a little bit of a creeper. Allegedly.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't
What's a
think
pederast,
I
Walter?
don't think pederast is the correct nomenclature anymore. I think it's
What's a pederast?
Just not fuck up, Donnie.
I think it's
Life is a stop and start it drinking.
child attracted person.
Oh, that's
What is-
right.
well, I'm sorry, what?
Child-attracted person.
Child attracted person. I've heard this. That this is what they're called now. Because heaven forbid we fucking offend goddamn pedophiles. You know.
We're going sideways on this podcast.
Yeah, well. Yeah, but he was creepy and Better Off Dead, you know.
But man, that dance sequence at the end where he pulls off like the
No, he
robot.
gets it,
I was
man.
like, damn, dude,
No.
get it.
And he finally
And
passes
then
out.
yeah, he takes his tie off. He's like, yeah. On the floor.
Ugh.
What
Anyway.
movie are we?
Yeah, so totally recommend
again?
Better Off Dead, John Cusack.
Yes.
I would rather
Early
have
roll.
I'd rather have reviewed Better Off Dead than 16 Candles if we were going to be doing a John Cusack
Sure.
movie.
Yeah, no, because that's a
Well, I said that, or
vehicle.
either Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But hey, it's a special episode. I
It
think
is
it's
what
cool.
it is.
So we're going to
Yeah.
look at it.
Right. All right.
You got bumpers?
Yes. Yeah. Let's do our bumpers. Hold on. So we're doing Money Critics fans. Yeah.
It's the green button.
Yeah. 16 Candles, critics and fans. All right, so I guess I understand. I guess I understand these scores. The fans, obviously, there is a fan base for this. To some people, this movie is their Lebowski. Everybody's got one where they, love it, quote it, know it, back to back. Critics, 81% gave this 3.5 stars or above, which is respectable, and 85% of the audience gave this 3.5 stars above. So this is a beloved film, and I think those scores are. I would have probably thought the audience score would have been a little higher, but that's still respectable. I printed out a couple of blurbs here, one short and one long. With the occasion all but overshadowed by her sister's upcoming wedding, angst-ridden Samantha, Molly Ringwald, faces her 16th birthday with typical adolescent dread. Samantha pines for studly older boy Jake, but worries that her chastity will be a turnoff for the popular senior. Meanwhile, Samantha must constantly rebuff the affections of nerdy Ted, Anthony Michael Hall. Michael Schoeffling played Jake, by the way. Anthony Michael Hall, the only boy in the school, unfortunately, who seems to take an interest in her. And then a shorter one, 16 Candles, a girl's sweet 16th birthday is anything but special. Her family forgets about it, and she suffers from every embarrassment possible. More or less, yeah. With a budget of $6.5 million, it was domestically released only, not released worldwide at all. 100% domestic, and it made $23,686,027. So roughly, 4 times its money back. It had to have been deemed a commercial success, and over the course of its life, I think it has become a beloved film, certainly.
Why do you think that they don't release movies worldwide sometimes?
I think maybe James and Chris could maybe answer this, but my gut feeling is that this is such a uniquely American 80s high school experience. I don't know that it would have resonated, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's probably some of it. I mean, if I had to guess, and then also the time, it was 84.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know how much.
When the worldwide market really opened up.
Box office, I think we talked about this a little bit before. It's definitely way more popular now than I think it used to be 10 years ago, and then even 20 years ago and 30 years ago. I'm not saying they didn't release movies worldwide back in 84, but yeah, I just think that's some of it. And then, yeah, I don't know how much of that, would play, play well, especially, Long Duck Dong, that probably wouldn't play well over there.
All I know is when I was in high school when this came out, I think.
Yeah, this is 84.
Of course, everyone at our high school was obsessed with the bands from over in England, Europe.
Sure.
It's true.
So-
Yeah, and I think we discussed it was maybe Hughes first, right? So if it's an unknown quantity, then you don't want to risk, spend all this money to, put it out over there and then it not do well. Where like if you're fairly certain, okay, this person has international draw, then we can do that and put it,
Yeah.
Well, that and just the logistics of it all, the legalities, and
Sure.
making sure you get your money. And the other countries want their cut, but what did they do for that movie? Nothing.
Yeah.
So it's just that's why
Yeah, that's
movies
true.
don't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Because now that the China market's opened up tremendously and all that, they've got all that infrastructure put in place where they can get movies over there.
Yeah.
I think they come out in China 2 weeks after they do here.
Oh, really?
Something like that. They come out
It's later
after.
for sure.
So there's their own little world
Oh, yeah.
for movies. So in the 80s, God, that didn't exist. I don't think. I was very, very little. At that
Yeah.
point.
All right. Any other thoughts on budget, audience, whatever?
I was gonna say this movie, for me specifically, this is before my time.
Yeah.
Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, all the Brat Pack stuff was before me.
Yeah.
So this kind of comedy I can only look at in retrospect.
Yeah.
So it always seems
Yeah.
weird, and that was the interesting part about seeing it with an audience on Friday.
Yeah.
It was Friday.
Yeah.
Was when we were pulling into the parking lot, I was like, oh, I forgot the audience for this movie is middle-aged
Yeah.
white people in their 50s.
Oh, yeah. No, it came out in 84, yeah?
Yeah, so-
I was a sophomore in high school, right?
Yeah,
so I was right there.
That's it. So when I see it in a sea of these people and they're laughing, I get it now.
Yeah.
Because I've only ever seen it, like I was saying, I've only ever seen it on DVD or on TV.
Yeah.
Going, man, the laugh breaks feel long. I'm not laughing. This movie feels weirdly paced.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I saw it until the 90s.
I might not have either, no, but but looking, I mean, Hughes had a grasp of the 80s high school experience. I mean, like
Right.
the cliques and the groups,
Yeah.
The clothes. Oh my God.
I think-
everything was. Well, it was made at that time, showing that time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unlike Adam Sandler.
going back,
Makes
you know.
Going
Yeah.
retro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, right. Yes, it was contemporary at the time.
That's the word.
There's every once in a great while does somebody from a previous generation have their pulse on the current generation and is able to put out product.
Yeah.
That's if you have that skill, that could be very
Well,
profitable.
There was, like, we watched, I love that 70s show, but they've tried a couple times to have spin-offs. Once they had that.
The 80s show,
The
which
80s
I
show.
really enjoyed. It's
did-
got Glenn Howerton on it.
Okay.
Dennis Reynolds from Always Sunny. He's the main character in that 80s show.
I watched maybe a couple episodes.
Yeah.
And to me, it felt like somebody trying to capture the 80s in the modern era, and
Yeah.
rather than say 16 Candles, which felt legit as far as what it represented, right? So made by people who either weren't contemporary to the 80s and were trying to capture that, because it all felt very pasted on to me, that 80s show.
yeah. Yeah.
But if you didn't grow up in the 80s, if you weren't a sophomore in 84, maybe it had some value. I remember watching it and not resonating, even though, we're both kids of the 80s or whatever. Anyway.
Well, that's the thing is, and maybe I guess I can say is, to take you back to that 70s show,
yeah.
we have that 90s show.
Yeah, I
We
watched.
grew up then. I don't like that show.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing of that resonates with me.
Yeah, that's
And
what
I
I'm
have
saying.
to say, maybe my dad and their generation, when they watch that 70s show, they're probably like, that's stupid too.
That might be a good point, because I really enjoyed that 70s show, but I was 3 years old in
Right.
1970.
You have more of a romantic version, and me as well with the 80s,
Yeah.
because I was 7 years old when the 80s ended. So all that was just
Right.
Ninja Turtles and New Kids on the
Sure.
Block, and the 80s were cool, but my 80s weren't Molly Ringwald and
Yeah.
Judd Nelson.
Right.
I still like the 70s show because I think the cast was
No,
really,
yeah, sure.
really,
you
really
did have
good.
a high. Yeah, the cast for that 90s show, is that what it's called? 90s show?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the
ni-
newest
On
one. yeah.
Netflix, yeah. They don't
Not the
resonate.
same. No, it's
Right, but
Brad and Kitty are what you're, the only draw in my opinion, because the kids,
Right.
'cause the
And they've
kids
had-
don't have the same as the original kids.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Well, that 80s show, every single person that's on there, you know their face.
Okay, all right.
Glenn Howerton, Kyler Lee, who's on Supergirl,
Yeah.
the dad, he was on, like, obviously this was 20 years ago, but those are familiar faces from 20 years ago and now.
Yeah.
Have you watched The Goldbergs?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that one
Yeah,
better.
that's a good one that kind of recaptures that.
But-
yeah,
but he
I
actually-
like that one a lot better than.
like those are stories of his childhood. I mean, it doesn't feel pasted on because it's hitting things that because they'll show like actual home footage
Yeah.
of what he
Oh,
based
no,
that.
I really like that one. So
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Like, there's certain things that like feel organic, and it those seem to resonate more. Like,
Yeah.
like Stranger Things, even though it's it's about obviously made up monsters and stuff. It takes place in the 80s, and it feels
It feels 80s.
80s as opposed to, and this is I wish I could think of a better example. Like they're just checking off a list.
Yeah, that's what it felt like with some of these other
like
shows.
That only works if you're doing like a comedy or something. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Well-
almost, I dare I say, Wedding Singer a little bit, right? But that one feels less organic to me. But it's a comedy, so it's okay. Where if you're trying to be,
Yeah.
I don't know, like it's a poor example. I can't think of. I know exactly what you're saying, but I cannot think of a movie right now that I watched or a show and was like, oh, that feels like they're just checking.
To me,
shit
it
off.
feels like for some of those shows, we'll have a bunch of 80s stuff and it'll be funny rather than here's a bunch of
Tell a
kids.
funny story in the 80s.
A funny story in the 80s. Like, because even with 16 Candles, here's a bunch of kids who are dealing with the angst that all teenagers,
You could
Go
put it
through-
in any era.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Almost. I mean, obviously the set dressings are different.
Sure.
But that angst that,
Yeah.
I tell people that I'm not a virgin. I tell people that I do all this stuff.
Yeah,
But here I am being vulnerable. And yeah.
yeah. Now,
Can I borrow your underpants for 5 minutes? It's going to be funny in any
sure.
decade.
Now, well, we'll talk about this and then we'll go through the beats or whatever. Like I've seen some people say about John Hughes movies that they either didn't age well or can be a little cringy. I didn't find that to be true for Breakfast Club and certainly not for Planes and Trains. But it is interesting how we have sort of advanced in our thinking because there were several moments within 16 Candles that
I was like, whoa.
yeah, whoa, would not fly today. Like,
Yeah.
the derogatory term for homosexuals being cast about. And now I say that I was telling Sherry on the way home. I said, yeah, that's inappropriate. We don't want to talk like that. But guess what? Kids in the 80s talk like that. Oh
Yeah.
That's so you can't have a movie. And I guess this is part of the larger discussion of,
PC.
PC and how it's affecting movies. You cannot have a film that's take place in the 80s without the kids and everybody talking a certain way.
Right, exactly.
They're gonna.
exactly
That's how
right.
they talked, and you can't sort of revise that and expect to resonate with any authenticity. I didn't know that bohunk was a derogatory term for Hungarians. Sherry looked that up.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh, I
either.
didn't. I figured it was some kind of like a bow and a hunk.
Sure. No,
Like-
it's a
Like
derogatory term.
bridegroom.
Yeah,
I thought it was something
yeah.
like that.
I
No,
didn't
it's-
realize it was derogatory. I thought it was just 80s slang that I was not.
No,
you know.
right.
No, because
Well, I don't know that many Hungarians either, but
in,
Right.
in
But-
Goofy Me, I'm sitting there going, "That's not his name." I thought, he was at first. I was like,
Wait, this
he's
guy's
not
name
a-
is Bohunk? I
Yeah,
missed
that's
that.
what.
yeah.
Yeah. Let me
Yeah,
see
that
if I
sounds
can.
like a placeholder name for boyfriend. He's a beau. He's a
a beau.
hunk.
He's
a
sure.
hunk.
Yeah, it is from Hungarian.
So I'm
descent.
sorry, we keep saying that over and over. We don't want to offend anybody out there. This
Right.
is ridiculous to us.
Yeah, but it's someone from Hungarian descent or someone from Central or Southeastern Europe, and by extension, a brute or a buffoon.
Oh,
Sure, yeah. So I didn't know that, but but there was a different sensibility, certainly less PC.
Oh, yeah.
And whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I mean, certainly we don't want to be calling people names.
Right.
Well,
the racism towards, Long Duck Dong. I mean,
Yeah,
hell, even
yeah.
his name,
Oh yeah.
Which is supposed to be
Well,
played for
the name,
laughs.
but the way
But-
he mows the grass, he does the laundry. Yeah, the latent racism
think
against
even-
Long
They
Duck.
even call him Chinaman, right?
The Chinaman,
Yeah,
yeah.
Chinaman's in the yard or whatever. Just fucking hell.
Yeah, and to our point, even Walter says not the proper nomenclature, Asian American, please,
Right.
which I thought was pretty progressive for Lebowski in the 90s, because that was 98, right?
Right,
Even that was
yeah,
pretty
well,
progressive.
it was set back in that time with Saddam, so
yeah.
yeah,
it came out in '98, but it was
yeah.
set back in.
But so, and
92.
Walter is subject to his own,
92, 93,
trying to find a verse.
91. I believe it was 91.
sorry.
Yeah,
What was 91?
Lebowski.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
story
91?
was set in '98.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah,
'cause
yeah,
of-
yeah.
Right in our
Both
time with
wars,
Saddam. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to that.
And then they're taking the pictures of the girl while she's taking advantage of her while she's drunk.
Well,
Like,
I was.
I honestly couldn't remember what happened. So when they started talking about it, I was like, oh shit.
Well,
this is age. This
now
is not
they
good.
want to. So Hughes can be, but at the time it wasn't. But so yes, it can be viewed as maybe not progressive. But because I remember, because I was standing back there, or maybe I guess I was still sitting at that point because I didn't get up to the movie ended. Anyway, when Jake is talking to Farmer Ted and his girlfriend is passed out. He says, I could violate her 10 different ways if one. There was a lady near me who physically groaned at that,
Sure.
because, and that is
Yeah, that was
a little,
rough.
at that point I felt a little uncomfortable,
Sure.
but Jake immediately sort of, he doesn't do that, first of all.
Yeah.
And he says that he's sort of tired of that whole arrangement and he wants, because it's in that same dialogue that he wants somebody to love and somebody to love him back. So immediately it's elevated. And Hughes does that even when he's accused of not aging well. His themes are always more elevated than that. But that's how people talked
Right.
in the 80s. And you
Well,
can't.
even the picture stuff, right? When he's posing the girl, while she's drunk and
Sure.
passed out, he's gonna pose her and shit. Like I couldn't remember what he did and what was gonna happen.
Right.
So as we're watching it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, he's just posing a picture with her. There's nothing sexual here.
Sure.
And then I thought, how much of it was Hughes being aware of it or not? When they take the picture and they show it, she's not even in the damn.
Right. Well,
Right.
and
They
that's
all played to like funny
That's
beats.
the joke.
yeah. The joke, these guys are so
Yeah.
nerdy and
This girl's
can't even
completely safe because they're buffoons.
Well,
yeah.
and that
and they're setting up an instant camera on a tripod, man.
Yeah.
Those freaking.
Instead of just snapping.
just a
it,
minute, just a minute, just a
take the
minute.
picture.
Hang on,
Right.
hang on. Well, and then she wakes up and she holds, hey,
Yeah,
party.
Yeah, and hold
Now.
the beer out. Yeah.
But that's the thing is, and that's what I kind of learned. I guess you learn lessons from these stories. Is even when a girl's in a vulnerable situation,
Yeah.
these are good guys. Like
He
they're
said-
not abusing the situation.
No.
I don't even think at the end of the movie when they said they thought that they slept together.
Yeah, I don't
I don't think they slept together.
Yeah,
Sure,
I think
sure.
that. But Jake says, you got to get her home. You can't just leave her somewhere. Make sure she gets home.
Right.
So,
Yeah, don't just leave her in a parking lot. Which he didn't just leave her; he stayed
He
with
stayed
her
with
in a
her,
parking
right.
lot
so
of a church.
I think Hughes gets a bad rap because he does elevate the theme. I think at those points.
Sure.
Anyway, so I always But there were times, like especially with the
Like in Violator, yeah, I was like, oh, man.
Violet. That to me was the biggest ouch moment.
Yeah.
Well, the other one was when the two guys are doing their pull-ups, the quote-unquote pull-ups, where they're just standing up doing the pull-ups. But, he said, she's a girl. What are you going to do? You can't party seriously with that girl, that kind of thing. That had me growing. I was like, yeah.
Right.
And and I even said his friend, I was like, that is a 40-year-old man with a mortgage doing pull-ups in that high school.
Yeah. No, the same thing. She was like, God, that guy looks like a way older.
But for all of that, Jake is looking for
More.
He wants, to love somebody, love him back. So I think you get through that, but there are elevated themes. But you cannot, and that's any time period. You can't, have a story about Oppenheimer, for instance, where he turns to the camera and says, "And I know this is a bomb," and he kills people. If you want to tell the story, you have to tell the story, and not every character is going to be a smiling rainbow.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And you wouldn't want that. I don't know how you'd watch a story where everybody is respectful and kind to each other. I mean, even that's what we want. I guarantee you don't want it in this story.
Right.
Anyway, that's what, because it is 16, and 16 Candles, I think, is the biggest offender of that as far as aging. But what are you going to do? That's
right.
That's how people talked.
I think it's my least favorite John Hughes movie.
Yeah.
However, because I was talking about generation gaps type of thing, my John Hughes is Home Alone.
Yeah,
he wrote Home Alone. That's my John Hughes.
Yeah.
So there is that disconnect
there
for us at our age, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, like I was saying with that earlier when you said it. I think I appreciated his movies as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
Right. But Home Alone, the Christmas Vacation, like in Vacation, like even though Vacation was older, like I don't know, those resonated with me first. I think before like it's kind of the high school stuff outside of Ferris. Like I remember liking Ferris a lot, but it wasn't. It was more about a kid breaking the rules versus actual resonating with high school life.
Yeah,
like only later did some of that start to make sense.
Well,
I think Ferris Bueller was for me because I didn't watch Weird Science a bunch.
Yeah.
I didn't watch all those other ones.
Yeah, that's another one after. Yeah, because we made a comment about that house where they throw the party. Jake's house it looks like the Weird Science house.
Yeah, and I'm almost. Especially the exterior shots, I'm always
it's
positive.
got to be. He always films in Chicago. I'm sure it's the same place.
Hey, Bob, can I borrow your house again, please?
Just the
I'm
exterior.
sorry.
Just the exterior. We'll build everything else in the high school.
Yeah.
You're not going to like this, but I like this movie a lot better than I do The Breakfast Club.
Really?
I'm sorry.
I think
Taste does too.
I think he made this movie so he could make Breakfast Club. And in terms of, because I think Breakfast Club is on a whole different plane of writing. 16 Candles is a fun comedy. The Breakfast Club, I think he was shooting a little higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after Breakfast Club was Pretty in Pink.
Yeah, I've never seen that, and I don't know why I've never seen it.
And that's when the wheels started coming off
Yeah.
for Anthony Michael Hall, Molly Ringwald, and John Hughes. John Hughes had this, I'll say it, none of the actors will say it, but everything that I've seen, John Hughes had a creepy relationship with them.
Really?
Like he thought he was more of a three-piece, like, hey, we're all the same age, we're all the same stuff. Obviously, I don't think sexual. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking like, hey, we have these projects. I wrote all these movies. I want you to be in all my movies together. And Pretty in Pink, they were like, we don't want to do that. Like, we're 17.
Yeah. Because I think I may have tried watching Pretty in Pink and just was never attracted to it for some reason. Like, it never really...
It has its moments. Ducky's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But,
and then I think even Molly Ringwald after that one was pretty much done with the John Hughes movie. So
what's the
Breakfast Club, I think, was all the strides, all cylinders it hit.
What's the actor she ended up? Andrew
McCarthy?
Andrew McCarthy?
Yeah. I like him.
I've liked him in some older roles. Didn't he play...
he was in Mannequin?
He played a hitman in that show you watched about the girls who were...
Yeah, he was,
Yeah.
Good girl.
Good girls or whatever.
Yeah.
They wound up smuggling... What are they? She works for a drug dealer. Anyway.
He plays counterfeit money.
McCarthy plays a hitman. And
Andrew McCarthy.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Edgy hitman.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend
That was
at Bernie's.
it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, Stacey and I rewatched Mannequin recently, and
we did.
It was really enjoyable, and I was not expecting it to be because like this. And sure, it was goofy, and some parts didn't age well, but
She's an Egyptian princess.
yeah, Kim Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she gets cursed and she's the mannequin, and then she comes to life because he's like a mannequin,
Yeah.
designer or whatever in the window.
Kim Cattrall is.
Whew.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
for sure. Anyhow, but
And
yeah,
it
today.
seems like
we watched it on a whim and
what's-
we enjoyed it.
the other guy in that.
Silverman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jonathan
That,
Silverman.
he showed up in something with Andrew. I can't remember if it was Good Girls or not, but
Yeah, and that was like the B level 80s star,
Yeah.
the Andrew McCarthy, Silverman, like those were, you had your John Cusacks and
sure.
Emilio Estevez and Molly Ringwald, and you had those guys.
Well, like Andrew McCarthy and even Hugh Grant. Is that the British guy?
Hugh Grant,
Yeah.
a British guy, yeah.
Yeah, I watched Dungeons and Dragons the other day. I don't know if you've seen this
Oh.
movie. I love that movie.
I think I want.
But Hugh Grant, I was really attracted. He was a bad guy in it, but I liked him in that role more so than some of his younger roles. Like I think
He was a lot of fun in that.
he's aged well as a actor. And Andrew McCarthy, when he played that hitman, I was like, I could see more of him.
Nice. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to watch you die. That's why I'm going to look away.
All right. So 16 Candles.
What movie are we reviewing again?
Every 80s movie ever.
Right.
Might as well.
I think this hit most of the beats. I think some are fuzzy, and I struggled with some towards the end, so we can get into that. For setup, set up an opening image. Obviously the setup is first 10 pages, the 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. There's chaos in the household. There is a preparation for Jenny's wedding, who's the older sister of Samantha, who happens to be her birthday. Time frame, high school in the 80s, teen angst and romance. This is set up. Jake Ryan feeling bored, nothing to keep his attention. He's in study hall and he's staring off into space when he decides he's going to intervene that note. So very much an 80s angst film. Our main character, Samantha, it is her birthday.
can I ask her a question?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
You call it study hall. They called it independent study.
Independent study, yeah.
And I'm like, what? It was always study hall.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they call it all kinds of different
Yeah.
things.
I've never heard it called that. And
Yeah, because what? Flex, right? Is what they call it now?
Yeah, Flex.
Yeah, it's called Flex.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was always study hall for us.
Yeah,
yeah,
you're
it was
able to
study hall.
Work on your extra stuff.
Work.
Yeah.
Because
they call it
independent
Flex
study
now.
sounds like, oh my gosh, I thought that
Yeah.
was a course or something. No, it's just
No.
he's just
that-
sitting there staring.
Yeah.
That opening scene reminded me a lot of Caddyshack.
Yeah, it did. Very much.
Opening
Yeah.
Caddyshack, and like a Catholic family when Caddyshack, and they were all just zipping back and forth. And he
Yes.
sits down. Whose kid are you?
Yeah, well, the long duck dong. Well, I guess that's later, but
Well,
yeah.
it's a lot of.
Gave me Home Alone vibes as well.
Yeah, Home
Yeah.
Alone vibes. Jeez, there you go.
Yeah. The opening image, I have it at 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Samantha, poor body image, wants to be a woman, feels like a little girl. And then, literally she says, chronologically, you're 16, physically, you're still 15. Hopeless, utterly forgettable. Having unrealistic expectations about what it means to turn 16. So this is her opening image. Disappointed with herself and having perhaps unrealistic expectations, I think.
Yeah, she's longing in love with Jake Lloyd.
Yes.
That doesn't even know she exists or she believes.
Sure.
I don't think it's Jake Lloyd.
Is it not Jake
Jake-
Lloyd?
Jake
oh,
Ryan.
Jake Lloyd's the.
Jake Ryan?
Jake Ryan.
Jake Ryan.
Is
Jake
Jake
Lloyd's
Lloyd?
the Phantom Menace.
Anakin
Jingle All the
Skywalker.
way. Yeah.
My bad.
All right.
Thanks for the correction.
16 candles. She wants her Turbo Man doll.
Doable man.
So this is really obviously 16 Candles because it's her birthday, but she is
Jake Ryan, yeah.
she's the character we're going to want to focus on, the main character. Yeah, so I think that anything else on opening image, it's fairly clear that I think it's her.
Yeah, it's basically you get the indication that it's a whirlwind of activity, and this poor girl
Has fallen through the cracks.
fallen through the cracks. What a birthday!
Now, I struggled a little bit with theme stated, and I'm always interested to hear what y'all have as theme. I have that the theme is perhaps stated by the annoying little brother who, little wisecracking smartass brother.
Yeah,
Theme stated at 4 minutes 22 seconds. I have perhaps by the annoying little brother, who would marry her? And then I didn't catch this in the theater, but the other little sister says, Mr. T.
Yeah.
So I think the theme stated is who would marry her, and I think that we spend the rest of the movie seeing exactly who would and probably will marry Samantha. You know, who would be attracted to you? This kind of thing.
Good Lord, that girl is 16 years old.
Yeah.
She's worried about who she's going to marry,
Sure.
who she's going to spend her life. She is 16. Get out of high school, girl.
Well, obviously, yes, but at a 16, it's the angst of, you know, love and romance and
Well, it's that very,
struggling with image for certain.
I think maybe, and this is just me looking, but that very 60s mentality of high school, you get out of high school, you get married, you
Yep.
have a job, family, car, all
Sure.
that stuff. So this was very prevalent, I guess, in her thought. Because 16, Jesus, that's young.
Yes, yes. When you're 55, it is young. When you're 16, you know,
The world is ending if you don't have a boyfriend.
sure, you think, yeah,
Because even the Jake's girlfriend was, I just imagine us, you know, being
Sure.
the richest, most popular.
yeah. Those are her values. What she's listing, you know, the
Yeah.
richest, most popular family in town, and Jake is at that
The
point.
dreams of a child, literally. Like, these people are children.
Sure,
Those dreams. Yeah, I wish I could be rich and have a big house and be the most popular people, but that's not real life.
right.
And I think that's what Jake sees.
Yes. So, did y'all have any? Were you able to identify a theme, and did you have any ideas about a theme?
Dude with a problem. No? That's not what this
That's
is?
genre, man. No,
Yeah.
scene, that's genre.
A lot of the same letters.
I can't be right all the time.
It's true. We did not talk genre. To James's point, we can do it later. But
Yeah, I think it's probably
no, I poor
I think-
homework on my part on this one because I just watched it the Friday night and obviously didn't take notes while we were watching
Well, I don't think there really is a clear theme stated, like a question that the movie answers, except who'd marry her?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do think the rest of the movie spends a great deal of time discussing that. So you're probably right.
Because Jake,
And I think it's interesting if that is right that this shithead snot-nosed little brother is the one that states the theme. That's pretty cool.
yeah, because it usually comes out of the mouth, and it's about the right time. You want usually within the first 5 or 6 minutes, you want in a well-structured movie, according to Catboy, you want that theme to be stated around that time.
Right.
I think it's the one question that gets answered because, and I think that because later on her father, in having that conversation with her, says, I don't worry about it because when it happens to you, it's going to be permanent or last forever. And so that's why I sort of feel like, yes, this may be her first crush, blah, blah, blah. But in my mind, this is their high school sweetheart and they go on and get married and this is it.
Could be.
Especially based on what her father says, you know, sort of
Yeah, he doesn't worry about her, getting hooked up with,
some loser. Because he's
a
watching
boho,
him,
right,
Jake,
where
open the
the
car
other
door
daughters-
for her.
Yeah.
And he seems like genuinely impressed at that point that she's going to be okay, you know.
Right.
Well, and the
Jake-
sister was getting married to a guy who liked her for more than 6 months.
Yes.
Right.
And hey, I can look, but I can't touch, right? And slaps her on the back. And she's,
says that at the family
Yeah.
rehearsal dinner.
yeah, do shots,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, essentially, I'm into limousines, vending products,
yeah,
construction.
political, double in politics. This guy's a
Yeah.
mafia.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. So I said that this is the theme, that the question that the movie asks, and I think Jake is probably the answer.
Well, no, he wasn't the only answer to that question, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Ted, the farmer, was also into her.
Yes, but he very quickly helps her hook up with Jake.
Yeah,
And
once
Jake
he-
hook up with her, like,
Yeah,
Like a
once he realizes
wingman.
she's not reciprocating or whatever. Yeah,
oh no, for sure. And
become more, I guess.
and,
friends
and he's
than-
he's obviously, and if it's okay with my dad, she's coming home with me. You know, so this guy's he doesn't have a he's got a certain.
He's cocksure.
That's
That-
what I'm saying. He is induced with an overindulgence in confidence.
I mean, he was mixing martinis.
Oh, yeah,
he
yeah.
was spitting, just
No,
all
he
kinds
thinks-
of advice.
and that kind of confidence could get you,
Sure.
fake it till you make it. You know,
You were talking about the look on Molly Ringwald's face whenever he comes
Yeah.
up to her at the dance.
yeah, the abject horror. You know?
I have felt that pain before. You're sitting there in a room with someone that you just have the biggest crush on, and then here comes this little,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Oh, no, she-
seriously, this is the time you choose
She
to
was-
sit here and
Yeah.
Is this a story of how you two met?
yeah,
Oh,
I was
no,
gonna say
no, I'm
I've
talking
never
about high
had that
school.
happen. I've never had anybody come up to me
Sure.
ever.
She is revolted. Hats off to Molly
yeah.
Ringwald for really playing it.
I didn't know you. Didn't know how to dance.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. because he thinks he can. He
Right.
thinks he was.
Right, that's what he says to her.
He's
yeah,
got
which is
some
great.
moves.
Yeah.
I'll give that to him.
Yeah.
He moves better than I do.
Well, just the sheer level of confidence. Farmer Ted is. Well, anyway.
Yeah, they call him the geek at
Yes,
the end of
I-
the credits.
Yeah, so is his name Ted Farmer?
His name is
what
Ted
the fuck's
Farmer.
This kid's name. It is Ted Farmer.
Ted Farmer, but
Oh.
in the like in school
Yeah.
when they're calling roll call,
Farmer Ted.
Farmer Ted. So it's Farmer Ted.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then in the credits it's geek.
Yeah, that almost seemed like they had the credits made before.
But he had more lines than Jake
Oh yeah, no, this was really a Ringwald Anthony Michael Hall vehicle. I feel like.
for sure. So
You know.
yeah, him just being called geek was oversight. Must
Yeah, I
have been.
mean, he was in it so much and was just on the way home thinking about the beats and trying to kind of beat it out a little bit. Like, was all right. Like, I almost approached it from his point. Like, maybe it's his story. And then I stopped and was like, wait a minute, this thing's called 16 Cans. Shit, it's hers. It's not,
Sure,
it can't
no,
be
it's-
his. It's got to be hers.
There is.
But he's in it so much.
I didn't
so-
track the beats for all, but there are three characters that sort of come through the story: Farmer Ted, Jake, and Samantha.
Yeah.
I think it's Samantha's story, and I didn't track all their beats because I didn't want to get that involved. I wanted to stick to whose opening image it was. But I think Jake has a break into 3. I think Farmer Ted has a break into 3, and I think Samantha has a break into 3.
So is that a 3-hander?
Well, yeah, it could be, but and sometimes buddy loves or romances can be that. You know, if it's a romance, my inclination is that it's a buddy love because that's the Snyder's honor,
Is
right?
that what you decided?
I didn't write that down, but it could be what are the coming of age almost
Rite of passage.
rite of passage because Samantha I think does go from worthless to the scene at the end. I think she's on her way, you know. So yeah, it could very much be a rite of passage. Jake Ryan intercepts the note with Sam's desires written on it. I call that his catalyst because I think that's more his catalyst than hers. Jake is currently dating Caroline, who is I quote air quotes blessed because they have the shower scene where she is more endowed than probably any
80s gratuity.
creativity. Yeah. But I mean, clearly she is more developed than
So
And
other
I-
girls in her.
the back a little background of it, that is not her. That
Yeah,
body,
you
that is
sent
a
us-
body double.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
you
bet.
sent us that information, and that's where I saw it. I read that.
Yeah, that is a body double.
sure,
I
yeah.
think that person was 27 because obviously that is it's supposed to be a teenage girl
You're right.
in a shower.
Well, now, when I was in high school,
Age of consent was 12. What?
Well,
What are you trying
right,
to say
but-
here?
Right, yeah. Don't forget we're being recorded.
No, I'm talking about when I went to a school with a guy. I didn't know him. We didn't move in the same circles, but he had longer hair than Jake, but he looked dressed almost exactly like Jake, and he drove a red freaking Porsche
Wow.
in high school.
Seriously?
Yes.
Ooh.
I sat next to him in one of the classes, but he was you could tell that he was more genetically advanced than almost every other teenage boy in that school.
Yeah.
It wasn't him.
What's that?
It wasn't him. It wasn't the guy that played Jake.
No, but very much that character.
Yeah, some people
Rich,
have it.
Drove
Some
a red
people-
Porsche, dressed well, seemed like he was a 27-year-old,
That's funny.
hanging
He
out.
drove a Porsche in high school.
Yes, a red, almost exactly like that car. It was a red, wasn't the 911 Carrera or whatever. It was the more,
I don't know.
yeah, anyway, I don't know Porsches, but he drove a red Porsche.
You just know you keyed the shit out of it.
Fuck
But,
you.
but there was very much a Jake character.
Yeah,
would
it's an archtypal character.
Yes,
There is
yes.
one of those in every school.
Sure.
There is a loner. There's a nerd.
Oh, yeah,
there's all of it.
Absolutely.
I think the nicest car that any of our classmates drove was maybe a Camaro.
Yeah, no, this guy.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
you
in
know,
high school and in college, that was a different story, but
you got money. And you're able to spend it.
Sure.
Yes.
not in my small town. Well, actually, the girl who drove the Camaro, her dad owned the Chevrolet dealership.
Oh, well, there you go.
I
That was a business write-off. Might have not even been her car.
Right?
No. And what is a high school kid doing driving a red Porsche except if his family's rich, right? I mean, obviously. But it was very much that situation. Jake is currently dating Caroline, who is, more advanced. Farmer Ted has all the moves he thinks. Sam is his. I wrote Sam is his Jake Ryan. Like, so he is going after Samantha like Samantha probably is going after Jake, right?
I think Is he though? Like, yeah, he is, but only after the bus. Like, it's not like he's been pining after her for
No,
months.
no,
and
no. I
months
think
and
she was
months.
just
She was just in the way. He
Right.
was chumming water. Hey, there's one. Let's see.
right. Yeah, absolutely.
I was gonna say when they get onto the bus and those two nerds are looking at him firing the things
Sure.
with the jock straps on their head.
Yes.
I just want to be like, guys, you're not doing yourself any favors. Come on. I mean, nerds are cool.
Did
Help yourself out, bro.
there-
Jock straps on the head.
Yeah,
No.
yes. I wrote Joan Cusack almost steals this scene without saying a word. The three of them, Anthony Michael, we talked about this earlier, but Joan Cusack,
Yeah.
listening to Ted go on about how confident he is and how well he thought that situation worked. Yeah. I love Girl with a Hat, Yeah. Anyway. This is all sort of set up. The grandparents are here and they're camped out in Sam's room. The other sets I wrote have boundary issues. So this is part of the humiliation this girl must endure. On her birthday, this is her life. Long Duck Dong is an exchange student living with one of a set of grandparents, and we meet Farmer Ted's crew. So this is sort of the setup.
Well, they all the grandparents, they don't remember that it's her birthday. And what grandparents
They live for this
forget?
shit, you know?
Yeah, they live for this shit. Yeah.
Yeah, they all forget. And they've invaded her room,
Yes.
the other rooms, and now she's on Couch City because of Long Duck Dong.
Yes.
Right. No, and that's a running theme in Hugh's stuff, or at least he repeats it.
Yeah.
Home Alone, yeah. kicked out of
Home
his own
Alone,
room?
and then so this I would definitely call.
Oh, yes, yes.
And then
Being forgotten.
Christmas Vacation. No, but like the parent
Getting
being
moved out of
having to
your
share
room.
rooms and shit, getting kicked out of your room.
Well,
for
I'm
And-
sleeping with your father.
right.
Sure.
Don't
But
be
also,
so
but being
overdramatic.
forgotten, because even in Breakfast Club, my parents ignore me, and even with
Hey, I've seen you before.
Home
What's her
Alone?
name?
Breakfast Club, I've seen you before, and then even Molly Ringwald's character in that,
Yeah.
they used me to get back at each other, and
Yeah.
so there's very much detachment of the family unit
Sure.
on the part of the
Yeah,
kid.
not just
yeah.
experience about high school, but just
Yeah,
with your parents and
Being invisible,
Yeah,
feeling
and-
invisible.
And for Cusack to ask the two kids, well, how's that going? I think not necessarily based on these movies, but Hughes, I think, was tapped into that angst and those feelings that probably all teenage kids go through.
Sure.
And Cusack very much interested in.
it's interesting. Like, 'cause I had a thought earlier, like, because when we talked about the Q&A, we kind of briefly touched on did he watch the movie or not, and
Yeah.
I'd kind of decided on he probably didn't. He showed up
Yeah.
in time to do the Q&A, but I don't know, but like he talks about, like you said, that talking kids about being invisible,
Right.
right? And how are they doing?
But I was going to have that thought too of I wasn't sure if John Cusack was going to be watching it with us. I'm sure he wasn't going to be just out in the audience watching it.
I
with
thought he
us.
might have been off stage or whatever, but
Possibly, but I doubt he probably listened to it and listened to the crowd do their
cheer
thing.
when his sister came on and stuff like that.
Joe.
I was hoping he was.
Yeah.
I
James
really
made
was
the
hoping.
comment about being 16 and having everything, all those pressures and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we talk about how, it's a checklist, boyfriend, graduate,
Right.
get married, like
Yes.
Get a job.
Cusack
Oh,
made
yeah,
a
he said
comment
that,
about having everything figured out.
Yeah.
Like that, and then asking the kids how they're doing.
Yeah, you don't feel like you need
Those
to.
two thoughts, I was like, fuck, maybe he did watch the movie because those are very topic too.
Well, but I think those are issues that are real to him. I mean,
for sure. So yeah, it might
Yeah.
have just been him versus actually being in tune with the movie. But
yeah.
anyhow,
I have the catalyst at 25 minutes, and it's
They're at the dance. When
They're-
they're walking into the dance, is that
Jake smiles at Sam because at this point he's aware, and maybe I think he's had the conversation with his friend doing pull-ups or whatever, and knows that she is interested in him.
because he has a conversation with the friends, doing the pull-ups after finding the note.
Yes, and is
Never
asking
see him
about her.
read the note, but we assume he read it, and
Yeah, knows that she
Yeah.
is interested in him, and so he makes he smiles at her, and that in his mind would lead to maybe a conversation, but she.
does not have Ted Farmer's confidence.
Yeah, Sam can't believe it. Isn't prepared and retreats.
See, that it would have been my reaction too when I was that age. Somebody smile at me, I'm like, oh.
Yes, and retreats.
Now I'm like, I don't care.
Sure, and runs
smiling
smack
at me,
dab
what do you
into
want?
Farmer Ted. That's her
Yeah.
reaction.
Phil was dancing around like Farmer Ted.
Well, like I said, he was Hans and Franz when
Okay.
every time I run into him, it's like something else goofy.
That's funny.
Sam
Sorry,
can't believe
Philip.
it and isn't prepared and retreats. So her debate immediately is no, this can't be happening, and runs away. Farmer Ted's Farmer Ted advances and sends Sam to tears and out of the gym because now she knew she has screwed up with Jake. Here's Farmer Ted again, and it's all too much, and nobody has celebrated her birthday, so she's out of the gym in tears. She perhaps feels frustrated at her reaction, and Jake and the angst of her plight is sort of the situation, and I think I'm calling this the debate at 25 minutes.
Yeah, because Jake grabs Farmer Ted and says,
Yeah, hey, you were dancing with some girl, and
what's that story? Yeah.
he immediately tries to play it off, thinking he's going to get beat up or whatever.
She came up to me, man.
Yeah, sure. Farmer Ted, now, I thought this was interesting because they begin to discuss Farmer Ted with his crew, Weeze and Bryce, John Cusack and the other guy. They talk about getting evidence, and he says video, and he says, no, not video. It'll get dubbed a million times and get put on cable or something. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, that's as close as they had.
Time, yeah.
Now it would be freaking social media, obviously.
Right.
But the fact that he thought anybody would be interested in watching him again is this overconfidence. Right. Long Duck Dong finds a romance. Hey, sexy girlfriend. Jake questions Ted about Sam.
Wait just a minute. So they agree that he's going to get proof, right?
Yes.
And then underpants.
Yes.
Right? And he walks off, and then they both look at each other and they go, girls
underpants. Yeah.
Was that a cringy line at all, to you, as far as thinking about the
Well,
way,
I think he acts
acceptable.
He acts hurt or because he thought maybe because that's a higher bar
Yeah.
at that point.
He can't just
Right.
come up with underwear. He's
Yeah.
going to come up with girls' underwear.
Sure. So I think it's
he go to one of his buddies and, hey, dude, I need your fucking right. I mean,
Sure.
is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yes. Joan's physical comedy is gold. I think she's trying to get. Well, she's dancing and then she's trying to get drink out of the water fountain.
Yeah.
Just
And neck brace keeps
yes,
clanging against the metal, and then
yes.
He
It's
goes
just
to the lower one and it squirts her right in the face.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she's muttering things, but it's so understated. But I'm just fascinated by her whole presence on the screen. Even every time I saw her, I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Sam continues to retreat. She goes to the auto shop where Ted goes in for strike 3. I have so he just keeps coming. He's already been here twice at the dance, once on the bus.
He's going to wear her down.
That's what I'm saying. It's definitely wearing her down because she unlocks the door and lets him in at this point. And
right.
Yeah.
Well, after he leans on the rack and knocks the whole
oh yeah,
thing over.
yeah, just total awkward. But it doesn't faze him.
Right.
Like these are all he's instantly overcome these blunders.
Yeah, the opposite in the two. Jake, crossed the dance floor, smiled at her, and she, oh my god,
Yeah.
and fled. And this dude's knocking over whole fucking racks of stuff,
Yes.
making all kinds of racket, and he just shakes it off and moves on.
Yeah, he is convinced of his whatever.
Sam
Sam.
roof on the door, and they unlock it. I don't know. I like that touch. Yeah.
Sure. Sam lets Ted in the car, where having nobody else to talk to, she opens up to Ted. Ted opens up to her. Gets cross signaled. He basically crawls on her.
Right. It's okay. Okay.
Ding. Yeah. I felt it on my leg.
Yeah,
He's got a
felt
roll
your
of
attraction
certs.
to-
Yeah.
felt your attraction to me or whatever.
I can feel how much you like me.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I felt it on my leg.
And then yeah.
Come on, I don't want to see it.
reference.
Like that. Like she sells it. Like you can hear the.
Yeah.
Please do not.
Whip out your shit right now.
Yeah.
And then like you said, James, it was a roll of certs or whatever.
Fresh breath is his priority.
Yeah, it's a priority for me. And he's totally selling it, man. So here I have Samantha is still debating, is convinced Jake doesn't even know she exists. When she finds out that he does to Ted or whatever.
Jake's my boy.
Yeah. She has a formal debate about breaking into two. Should I do it? Should I not do it? I know it sounds crazy, but I think I'm going to do it. I think this is her.
So all of this is debate.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a lot.
Yes. Well, I think the beats are not solid.
Yeah.
This is so strange, but I think I will. Leaves the car. I'm saying as she gets out of the car, you know how I like doors, that this at point she's breaking into two. I have this at 38 minutes, which is kind of okay. If it's an hour and a half movie, you think,
Okay. Yeah. We saw her get out of the. Yeah. We see her get out of the door.
yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. To get your thing there.
Yeah. So, because at that point she's going to be proactive about.
Right. But she breaks into two commando style though.
without underwear.
Yeah, well, spends really the rest of that night, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause you
Right,
gotta
'cause she
think-
forgets.
But he does say 5 minutes, right? Well, yeah, I don't know
But
when.
he doesn't
I
get it. She doesn't get him
doesn't
back.
seem like she ever got them back, right?
No, because Jake gets them later.
But he does say 5. Oh, you're right. She does not.
She does not.
She doesn't say, "Can I
she
just
does
borrow
get
them?"
those back at the very end.
End of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
So that whole night she's walking
But Ted
around.
the farmer goes, "Can I borrow them for 5 minutes?" Right? That is the line.
Right?
Can I borrow your underpants for 10 minutes?
10 minutes. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So it's not. Can I have them? Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Borrowing
later
implies
on
giving them back,
at
but
the
he
end of the
never did.
evening, when her dad comes down and realizes that he forgot her birthday, he says, you know, make sure whatever guy you find that you wear the pants, and it's like, oh,
Yeah. Right.
you know, because
right.
remembering that I did not get those back.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
gets the underwear and she breaks. it
yes.
into
So the breaking the two at 38 minutes. Now a series of fun and games. Underpants for 10 minutes.
How old are you? Or what year are you? Yeah. That was
Yeah,
good.
right. Yes.
$1. Yeah, he needs $1.
Sam is out in the hall practicing lines, and then, you know, the one, you know, I had a dream about you and you were in it. She snaps her
That's
like,
the
yeah,
one.
that's the one.
That
I thought that was very cute. She chickens out on her first attempt. So I guess she goes there and is looking at him, and then he turns around and smiles at her, and she turns around and flees. And this is the point he thinks that she thinks he's, you know, a leper or whatever he says.
Yeah, that's what he says. Yeah.
Give me my one. I wrote, give me my $1. Yeah, so they're selling admittance for $1 a piece to see the underpants. You know.
The trophy, the quote unquote trophy.
Yes. Long Duck Dong and Marlene give Sam a ride home, and then they go to the party.
Yeah, she has a comment about, you know, he's been here,
Yeah.
been in this country 5 minutes or whatever, and already has somebody, and I can't get anybody.
Yeah, I'm a disease, you know. We meet
Donger.
the Donger, yes. We meet the in-laws in this whole party scene at Jake's. Joan drinking a beer. She is trying to drink this beer with the headgear and falls backwards.
Somebody give this poor lady a straw.
Yeah. Long Duck and Marlene arrive and party on. Ted, Bryce, and Wheeze arrive to the party with all their misfortune, knocking the beer cans over and everything.
Please take those things off.
You're right.
Guys,
They
I
had
told
like
you.
headlights and shit on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. These are the fun and games leading to a midpoint false defeat, I'm calling it. Jake calls Samantha and gets blocked. So he calls. So he basically has left Caroline, his girlfriend, and is trying to get in touch with Sam, and he calls, and it's a false defeat, but Sam doesn't even, and this is why I think it's a little fuzzy, she doesn't really know that she suffered this defeat.
Right.
Yeah, if she's the main character, it should be her false defeat
Yes.
or false victory. And
But it's her grandparents.
Blocking Jake. Because he calls, you know,
they
and
want-
it's very polite. Would it be possible to converse with her briefly? You know,
yeah.
Well, after he's called 3 times.
yes, later on.
And
No, but I
He
feel like he
said
was
that.
polite from the get go. Well, he's calling and
They're not answering.
They're
not
Right,
answering,
he-
so then he gets frustrated and says, "Eat,
me, yeah.
and hangs up, but not realizing that the eat.
that's all she
eat me went
heard.
through.
Yeah.
What did they want?
Sex. Yeah, so this is a 49 minutes. Jake calls, which is perhaps a little late. Jake calls Samantha and gets blocked. Bad guys close in. Obviously, we're leading into that. The grandparents, because he calls back several times, and then they really shut him down, and Jake's house is trashed by Caroline's friends. So Caroline has basically just used him for a party and trashed his house. The grandparents have
Right.
called him despicable, and this is what I'm calling the bad guys.
And Samantha was just at home sleeping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's on the couch.
Oh,
On the
no.
couch.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
That's why
all
she
this,
said, no, you can't call because my grandparents are in my room. Later.
Yeah.
It's later.
yeah. So that's what I was able to figure out for a bad guy. The all is lost. Obviously, we want to make that a false victory, which I guess maybe Dad has a talk with Sam, realizing they forgot her birthday. Now this I have to call as much of a victory as she's going to get right now, because they did remember her birthday after having forgot it. So that's what she was concerned about for a lot of the movie.
Yeah.
Now
And
she
both
gets-
parents come to her and say they're
Yes, she gets
sorry.
what she wanted, was the remembering of her birthday, leading into the dark night of the soul. Confesses her love, angst to her father, because it has to be sort of a deep down moment. And again, I think it's squishy. She confesses her love to her father. Extremely embarrassing, sitting here in the dark with your dad, telling him about your love life. She likes him, but she is convinced he doesn't like her, and it just hurts. And then he says, when it happens to you, Sam, it'll be forever. So this this is her sort of dark night. She's feeling the pain of thinking Jake doesn't like her,
Yeah.
and
She'll be alone for a long time. Yeah.
yeah, as near as I could come to any sort of dark night. Did y'all have any different thoughts about that? Like I said, I think they're kind of squishy.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah. Still in this dark night, Jake talks with Farmer Ted. She looked at me like I was a leper. Jake is not interested anymore with Caroline, wants love and to be loved back. So they're all sort of, both Sam, it sort of almost cuts back between the two, but they're both sort of having these talks about each other, thinking that the other one doesn't like them and feeling pretty bad about it. All right, I have a break into 3 at 1 hour and 4 minutes. And again, it's sort of, and this is where I think it sort of starts to get split ends almost, because each one of these, Farmer Ted, Jake, and Samantha all sort of have their own separate instance into the third act where they're finally going to get their closing images and finale. Farmer Ted drives out of the garage into the third act. So he's with Caroline now, who's unconscious. He's me. Who's that? I'm him. You know, this whole conversation.
Yeah.
Break into 3. So Farmer Ted drives out of the garage at what I'm calling into the third act. He gets photographic evidence. The whole female extraterrestrial is better than that.
Those
Because
guys.
they got 4.
Huh?
How do you know they're female?
Oh, yeah.
They got 4 breasts.
4 breasts.
Those guys, I swear.
This-
I swear, when I hear someone say extraterrestrial, sometimes I think of that scene.
yeah, female extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Female extra.
How do you know?
Yeah. So Farmer Ted drives out of into the third act. Sam wakes up into the third act at 1:10, because at this point she's going to go to the wedding and for whatever kind of storming the castle is going to take place, that's when it's going to happen.
Yeah. That's what I had as storming the castle was the wedding.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's okay.
absolutely.
Weird.
Now I
My
did.
surprise was going back for the veil, you know?
Yes, and again, she makes the statement like, I better get downstairs because they're probably mad at me that they didn't get to wish me happy birthday. And then she said, well, my family's all waiting for me. I got to go, when she's talking to
The lady.
who I guess I always associate her with Poltergeist.
Poltergeist, yeah.
She even seems creepy there.
Well, not only that, but she reminds me a lot of my grandmother, my
Yeah.
paternal grandmother.
Yeah.
You put an oxygen mask on her, chain smoke, and a wheelchair. That's
her.
My grandma.
That's crazy. Now I did write the station wagon they get into, because they get into 2 cars. The first one it looks very much like the family truckster to me. Did you see this paneled station wagon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not green like the Grizzly.
Right. Another John Hughes thing. All right.
Yeah, that's a running thing with him too. Yeah, you just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
It's- bigger families or right? It's a fucking production to get into a goddamn
Sure.
car and go somewhere, and he nails that in multiple.
Yes, it's
movies.
always
Yeah.
this big production.
This big
Yes.
thing.
Yeah, even the part where the younger brother is like, he has to go around and wait to get in the front seat in the middle. I was
Yeah.
like, I remember doing that exact same
Right,
thing.
right.
Because you're the little one, you're stuck between people.
Right. I thought he was. I was like, oh, the kid's gonna drive. Like at first, I'm like, oh, he's
Yeah.
getting all the way.
Yeah, they're
getting
bench
over.
seats.
Yeah. The
So he's got to slide over.
Yeah. Long duck dong on the front lawn. Automobile. This. Jake. So Sam wakes up in the third act. Jake knocks on the door of the third act at 1:19, talking to Long Duck Dong. Married. You knew this whole situation. So so all these characters are now either making advances or on the brink of the third act, and I think
Yeah.
it's 3 separate.
it's kind of weak. It's all happening to.
Yes.
her.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. And 2 out
The
of
other
3.
guys are sorry. The other guys are acting, but you know,
Yes, I was about to say.
being active and
Moving
their
into,
own
she wakes
stories.
up and yes,
And
She
everything
goes to
happens
the
for
wedding and
Yeah,
goes
she
back and gets
to
the
wedding,
veil.
Go to
Yeah.
the veil and then gets everything she wants.
yes,
Cool.
which is yes, but it's weak and fuzzy in my opinion.
We see the sister get her comeuppance too, because she's very bitchy earlier on,
Yeah,
and then has her period on her fucking wedding
yeah.
day,
Oh no, she's
and then takes a bunch of muscle relaxers, and now she's
she's
How many did she take? 4? You did not.
yes, yeah. So that and then the final image, Farmer Ted with Caroline. Whether they stay together, I don't know, but they have a connection. Farmer Ted has finally bagged a babe. I guess he says, I've never bagged a babe. Now, whether they did or not, I think is open to some question.
Right.
But they both think they did, so
That's all that matters,
That's all
right?
that matters. And then Jake with Samantha celebrating her birthday at 1:29, the closing image,
Wait a minute.
Okay.
You have to talk about him. He's waiting by his car, but you don't see him
Sure.
until all the cars move.
Right.
It's like the curtains open.
No, it
It
and
was,
that-
well
it-
blocked. Yeah.
I think that
Yes.
has to be one of my absolute favorite scenes
well, the audience cheered.
of a lot of movies. I mean, you know,
Oh yeah.
No, it still got me. Like,
because as a young 16-year-old, I would have died.
sure,
I'd have been like,
no, it's a get you in the end kind of ending. It's very sweet, and he holds the door for it. No, it's the build up to everything that you wanted to happen.
I mean, I had a grin on my face every
what is
time.
it you say in Wedding Singer? It makes you want to believe in love, sweet, sweet, love.
yeah, you want to believe in love, sweet, sweet love.
That's it.
One thing I didn't think about till you said it a minute ago
Yeah.
about we're talking about with the dad and the dad having the conversations with her about when it happens to you, it'll be forever and
Yeah,
all
sure.
that stuff, right? Her and Jake meet up. Like they keep trying to meet up in high school and all those other places. They meet up in a church.
Yeah.
Where someone just got married, where you get married.
You should, sure.
Like that's
Yeah.
if that's what Hughes was going for, I think that's
No,
that's why he
I-
has them meet there, right?
Yes, you
I
can.
didn't think about it till you said it. I was like, oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. No, yeah, but the whole thing, and then of course it does the sweet ending with the 16 candles and all that. No, it's
So theoretically, this movie took place over how many days? 2?
yeah, that sounds about right. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have
This
been a
is the thing.
Friday and then a,
Two or three, yeah.
if they got married on a Saturday, which
So she would, yeah, they're getting married tomorrow. Today's
Yeah.
her birthday. Tomorrow they're getting
because they're
married.
meeting the family that
Right,
night,
just two. Yeah.
and the next day,
That's a lot of, that's an emotional swing for 24, 48 hours. Of
Oh,
being
yeah.
Completely hopeless, just turned 16 to now having everything you ever dreamed and thought you would have.
sure. Now, how long had she been crushing for Jake? Apparently a while, because when she's answering that survey, she already had who in mind that she would.
But what work did she do to get Jake? Like, what arc does she have? Like, what trials and tribulations, other than filling out that note and being emotional?
Yes,
What did she do?
Jake is pre-programmed to.
She's almost like a flat arc.
Yeah,
Like,
because Jake
I
had
noticed
to.
that, like watching it, I was like, all right, is she a flat arc? Because she doesn't really change, but she changes Jake theoretically, right? Jake changes. He goes from being with the the popular
Yeah, and
hot
wanting
chick,
more.
Yeah.
wanting more.
It-
Granted, I think he started off that way. I don't know that. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
that
think
she prompted him to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't see that she prompted him to want to change.
And then
Well-
she diverts Farmer Ted.
yeah,
Like, he's a bundle of energy and hits
Yeah.
her and doesn't. do
Yeah,
anything.
as far as even romance beats, it's very weak because typically you'll have the meet cute and then they're forced into a situation and they can't
right.
be together. They don't want to be together at some point, and then they discover that they're the
can I
best.
say this? He says, I catch her looking at me during that.
Yes,
study period.
like she loves me or something.
Believe me, in high school, yeah,
A lot of puppy eyes.
I've gotten
Sure.
caught looking at,
Yeah, sure. Yes, but in terms of like the effort that she makes to control, like she doesn't really seem to be at the helm of her own story a lot of times.
Yeah.
She's just a kind of feather in the wind.
Yes.
She's pining for these things, and things seem to come together for her.
For her, yeah, with
Thanks to Farmer Ted. Yeah, she didn't do anything.
So
but I think Jake uses Farmer Ted as a foil to get to her.
Yeah.
But if there was no Farmer Ted, he already knows that she's interested in him. I think he would have.
Yeah, he's got the confidence to go up to her. Yeah, and she tried, but yeah,
Yeah.
it would almost have been more fulfilling if we see her trying and she keeps failing, and then she goes up to him at the end or whatever. Like that almost would have been.
Yes.
I mean, that ruins the whole thing we were just talking about the cars, pulling out and revealing him. But yeah,
well, I like it how
No,
she drops the
you know,
note and he
yeah, it
he
works.
reads
It was interesting to me. Like I felt that way about both these movies we're reviewing today. Is like the beats aren't necessarily the strongest, but they still really really work.
Yes, the story I think is full of enough fun and games and
Cool
good
characters
moments
and funny lines
that you enjoy the ride.
yeah.
Or it
sometimes-
is very convenient, though. I mean, that luckily for her, he found her attractive.
Right.
The one he wanted, the one she wanted, also wants her.
Right.
Thank goodness. I mean,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So the beats I don't think are there. The structure is not solid, but it's a feel good enough story, I think. But because the ending, both times I watched it, I was like, I felt good about the ending. So
Right.
yeah. Yeah, I
It's
remember.
interesting to me, like you feel like she gets what she deserves, but to James's point, she doesn't do a lot of things to earn it.
To get
other than
to make
putting
it
up with
happen, yes.
putting up with a lot of bullshit. So I guess on that, you damn, parents forgot the birthday. Fucking grandparents are in your room.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
like you feel for her, all the stuff she's going through.
So wait, maybe
Or good things happen to good people. Like,
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
You know.
Because she doesn't. Yeah,
I just had a thought.
she doesn't win the boy. you
The
know?
movie's called 16 Candles.
yeah,
Her wish came true. She said that at the end of the movie.
it already came true. Yeah.
That was it. She got her wish.
Yeah, it's
She
almost
wished.
as if, like the silent voice is, maybe she can't hear it, but it's telling her, don't worry, kid, you're going to be okay. This kind of thing.
Yeah. See, and I'd asked you, I think when we watched it or whatever, because Jake buys her, he meets her at the church and then he buys her a cake, right? So did Farmer Ted tell Jake that, hey, everyone forgot her birthday? Or did 5 minutes after finally talking to her crush, she starts crying about how everybody forgot my birthday and he goes and buys her a cake? You know what I mean? Because that's terrible. Like if,
Yeah, it's true.
Well,
5 minutes
she
after-
could have said something like,
like I know it's
This
all
is the
sweet
best
for him and
birthday
shit, but that's what
present
ran through
ever.
my head was, so 5 minutes after finally getting your crush, you start crying about your birthday and.
I think he finds out about her birthday and wants to do something nice for her.
I get that. I guess I'm just being an asshole about it, but just
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
what
I
kept
don't-
running through my head. Is not how
Well, but her
nice of a
parents-
thing he did, but
Her parents had apologized by then and all that.
should have
'cause-
been over it. So she shouldn't have been crying to her crush about
Yeah,
it. But
because
clearly she did, 'cause he
even
gets
the
her cake.
mom, I read in the trivia that the mom, the actress that plays the mom, was like, "Hey, if we're gonna have the mom be such a doting, attentive mother and forget about her daughter's birthday, we gotta have something in there of her apologizing."
Sure.
So he did. John Hughes put that in there
Yeah.
because both of them apologized. We both missed it. And who puts their wedding date
So
on?
close, yeah.
Well, that shows the instance, because I'm sure that her older sister and
Yeah,
her fiance picked the date.
Sure.
So how insensitive and clueless are they?
You wouldn't believe some people pick wedding days that are.
Oh, no, on her birthday, though, is what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
no.
she even said, "Well, I listened to you talk about your boy problems. Like, why don't you listen to
Yeah.
mine?"
Oh, you're just being
Yeah,
kind of
they're
an
all-
asshole.
They're all just assholes.
No, I can understand. I can see people
Well,
doing that.
She is supposed to be cast as the opposite of Sam, just a clueless, this is probably the best her life's ever going to be. Life with this guy, and
Well, it kind of
he's going to wind up in jail
about
with
it,
federal
she-
racketeering
divorce,
charges.
yeah.
she kind of mirrors the popular girl, the one that Jake dumps. Like the older sister and the popular girl kind of
Yeah.
favor each other on it's easy, like money,
Yeah.
good-looking people. We're gonna get married 6 months. We're gonna be rich, popular, have parties.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought they were the same for a split second. Like I
Yeah.
thought Jake was with the sister, like when it first started for like a
Yeah.
split second.
Yeah. But yeah, it's almost same hairstyle, same
Yeah.
sort of attitudes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder. I was sitting there wondering how much older is she, because it seems like Jake would have known, because she is really attractive. Jake would have said, "Oh, that's Samantha is
Oh, so and so's sister. Yeah.
sister,"
Yeah.
but I don't know how long she's been out of high school.
Yeah. I don't
She can't be that long.
No, I don't know. I think the story is surface level story, and it's a sweet little
Somebody's gonna say it. Not that kind of movie, kid.
yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, we'll get to it when we get to the past, consider all that kind of stuff. But there was so much better writing in some of his other, like Planes, Trains, and Planes, Trains, and Breakfast Club.
Automobiles?
Yeah,
Planes,
Are
trains, and
so far-
automobiles.
I think they're so far and above 16 Candles.
You gotta start somewhere, man.
But let
No,
me,
no, I don't fault it. I'm
but
just
let
saying
me
that,
say, as a person that's that age,
sure.
it is 16 Candles is a really, really sweet
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
Now,
I think it's still sweet, and I think it still gets you at the end. Yes.
I know.
And there's a lot of fun times in between.
Yeah,
I just don't think it holds
it's-
up.
You and I like the Plane, Trains, Automobiles and Breakfast Club because of the writery shit that's going on with it.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
Because Stacy, like if you put those two and then you put 16 Candles, she's picking 16 Candles.
Really?
So you're underestimating the power.
She
of
said
the,
she likes 16 Candles
Right,
better
exactly.
than
Yes,
So you're
because
underestimating the power
I
of the
can-
sweet, sweet love, man.
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
That's true. That's
Me
true.
at 16,
True.
I can so
Sure.
see that whole story, and I think now, like I said, if it had been made today, maybe not.
Sure. Well,
No, I mean set in today's world, whatever.
yeah.
But that is, I can relate to it.
No, I hear you. Because I think of Breakfast Club, and I'm immediately enamored of, we're all on the same page, and he plants that in this, and then all the writing and the nuances and the setups and payoffs and
The fucking rigid calendar, like
Yes.
when you pointed that out, I'm like, holy
The
shit.
evolution of John Hughes is again all cylinders in Breakfast Club.
sure. But I like it for reasons about the mechanics and the depth of the story. And you like Breakfast Club? I mean, 16 Candles
I like it because
because it's sweet. You know,
the not the most what do you call it, the what do you call it, prom queen
sure.
or the homecoming queen.
Yeah.
You know, usually the homecoming queen gets the,
Oh, sure.
the
Yeah.
total hunk with
Yeah.
the Porsche and
The laws
everything.
of the universe.
But
Yeah, they win the championship game. Everybody's happy.
yes, but the average girl actually gets the
yes. Well, even in like it wasn't John
prom
Hughes, but
king.
in
yes,
in,
exactly.
in Better Off Dead, he is Cusack is after some girl who is the prettiest and blah blah blah, and at the end is more enamored of the exchange student who is, you know, can fix cars and get dirty and infinitely more grounded and down to earth than this prom queen he's been chasing the whole movie, you know, and has the opportunity to get the prom queen back but doesn't. That's always the preferred ending for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
you know,
but
because anyway. Yes,
but my great ending is okay. I got the farmer tit. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No,
fresh
you're
breath is very important to me, Sherry.
Huh?
Fresh breath is very important. It's a priority for me.
No, you're actually you would be more actually like
Okay, well.
The nerds.
John Cusack character.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes. If you were to
Absolutely.
put me on the spectrum of high school, I'm closer to that than almost.
That's what I'm saying.
Between
yeah.
the John Cusack character and the guys with the jock straps on their head shooting little ray guns.
No, he's more John Cusack.
Yeah, you're in
character.
between
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, you would have been in there with the computer stuff and
Sure.
doing stuff like that.
High school felt like prison to me. I could not. Like, I feel like if I did high school, I could do prison. I hated high school. My God.
Well, I loved high school.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stacey did too.
Because I
Yeah,
was
and
in the
I've never
band.
thought of it in those terms. But yeah, it was not.
In the
Couldn't wait
marching
till I could get
band.
out.
Yeah, we had fun. In the
I didn't
marching
want to
band.
get out because then I'd have to get a job.
Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to go to school just to eat up my time.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it was
Now I don't
wasting my
agree
time,
with
for
one
sure.
of my teachers says that you trying to rush through this and one day you're going to want to come back. Well, no, I don't want to go back and repeat all that. No,
No.
but that I do have good memories looking
sure.
back.
I'd love that structured lifestyle. No bills. That'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
No. It only
Be here at this time, be here at that time, be here at that time. Have fun with your friends. Don't worry about bills. Eat all the crap you want.
Oh, yeah. No. It
You'll
was.
never gain a pound.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't-
That's
I
what
don't
I
miss-
miss about school. I don't miss school.
Right.
Yeah, I don't miss homework and stuff.
I never had homework, thankfully. I was too smart for all that.
Well, there you go.
I could have graduated early, but I didn't because I didn't want to get a job.
That's right.
Well,
So I squeezed every minute
listen.
of school I could.
you know,
Crazy like a fox.
I could have. My mother asked me, did I want to do the graduation early and everything like that. No, I wanted that extra year in the band. I wanted that. I wanted to graduate with the kids that I grew up with.
My parents were happy if I got
did.
C's. C's and,
Yeah, I had no school spirit, none of
Oh,
that,
God,
none of that
no.
bullshit. So like,
No,
my
I didn't
girlfriend
either.
was older, had already graduated. So yeah, I wanted out, so I did it in 3 years.
I didn't either. I
Wow.
just wanted to. My dad said, if you're not in school, you have a job.
Yeah.
So I did school.
Yeah.
I did everything else.
Okay,
No
yeah.
school pride, none of that. I didn't do act.
Sure.
I did school.
Yeah.
And I did everything else I wanted to do.
Right.
Right.
Not having a job.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on this? I think
Yeah.
we covered it.
Sweet, sweet love wins again.
Right. I mean, definitely, I think it carries it. I think from a depth perspective, you overlook any story elements because it's fun and gets you in the end.
Well, because we talked about it. I don't remember what movie it was before, but we for us, I don't know if it's always been the case, and it's not a blanket statement for every movie, but if we can, for you and I, and if we can see the writer working, right, we can
Right.
feel it, then we're able to forgive other things.
Yeah.
So I think with any movie, if something about it resonates, whether it's
Yeah.
a structure thing or just a character or whatever, if something about it resonates with you, you're able to forgive any of that stuff.
Yes.
Right. And where, so like in this, like Stacey and Sherry, every girl wants to be,
Sure.
picked up by Jake Ryan, right? Where you had said Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. Yeah, that doesn't resonate with me as much as, I want a fucking car right fucking now. Like that resonates with me. You know?
Yeah.
So it's just whatever,
No, absolutely. And
works for you. Bam, that's your thing.
if it does resonate, then the writing has achieved its purpose. You know,
Oh, for sure, for sure.
I'd like to add something.
yeah,
You know, recently, well, before COVID, there were several older movies that came to the theater, and you wanted to go, and I was like, but like we went to see Psycho in the theater. Never, of course, saw that in the theater. Enjoyed it, but there wasn't a big audience. I think that if there's ever older movies that we truly love, and have an opportunity to go back into the theater after 30 years or whatever, to watch with an audience, it's worth it.
sure.
It is really worth it because I really enjoyed
The
watching this movie.
the audience made it very enjoyable.
Yes.
Until they started talking and asking questions.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. So
The questions did not resonate with us.
No, bad writing.
Yeah, bad writing.
Bad writing questions. All right. So any other comments? We'll do our past consider.
Oh.
Nope.
I forgot about
Yeah. All right. Jerry, you want to
Sure.
Lead us off.
lead
Yeah.
us off? Past consider, recommend.
Well, I recommend
Yeah.
to watch it at least once.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Like I said, I did not see it when it first came out.
I didn't.
I think I didn't see it until after we were married.
Yeah. I don't
To be honest
remember.
with you,
I don't remember when I first.
because I don't ever remember hearing about this movie. I don't know why. I think I was so busy in high school, you know,
Yeah.
just with everything going on in high school,
Yeah. Yeah.
that there were a lot of movies I missed
Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
in the theaters. But I recommend it,
Yeah. All right.
especially if you're a Anthony Michael Hall.
I think
Fan.
he's one of the serious
He-
highlights. It's fun watching him.
Yes, he is absolutely hilarious
Yeah.
in this movie.
Yeah.
And he's I guess he is my favorite character in the movie.
Sure.
I'd consider it. As far as John Cusack movies go, this isn't a John Cusack movie.
Right.
Better Off Dead is my go.
Yeah. He's
there.
not showcased. Yeah.
Yeah, but 16 Candles. Consider Breakfast Club. I think is better. Better showcase of what John Hughes has.
Sure.
But everything else, I think I pretty much said. We
Yeah.
really went over this one.
Yeah. I think more than I would thought we would have actually. Anyway.
Yeah, it's also a consider for me.
Yeah.
James, I guess similar thoughts. Yeah, there's better Hughes movies out there as far as his abilities and stories, like Planes, Trains, Ferris, right? Those are the vacation movies. Those are better. But this is not a bad movie. So if you're a diehard Hughes fan, you haven't seen it, you definitely should check it out. Or back to the whole sweet, sweet love thing, you should check it out. As far as a rom-com, it definitely works.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a consider for me. I wouldn't put it in my recommend category.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's for me. It's also a consider. It's not definitely not a pass. I think it is a fun ride. It is. If this is one of his earlier or even earlier movies, anyway. Like we're going to talk about the Coen Brother movie next, and their body of work is immense, and a lot of their movies are different and quirky. But their first movie was Blood Simple, which is very different than anything they pretty much have done. Maybe more
No Country.
No Country, yeah,
Similar in tone.
yeah, and Miller's Crossing. Did they do the Miller's? Yeah,
They did. Yep.
it's maybe sort of like this, but their first movie, like if you watch that and then you watch some of their other movies, you're like, are these the same
hell, the
guys?
same guys? Yeah.
So there is this development. But Blood Simple, Coen Brothers' first movie, is still a great movie. And I think this is still a good movie.
Yeah.
Hughes would become more adept, and I think his apex is Breakfast Club and that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, the movies lost something when we lost Hughes. I mean, him on his worst day is still
Sure.
a million times better than a lot of the
Yeah, this
guys
is
that
still-
cranked out movies. And
This is
writers.
still an enjoyable movie and still gets you in the feels a lot of times. So I don't pass on it. I definitely think you should consider it, and you'll probably have a good time. So, all right.
Cool.
That's 16 Candles. Any other thoughts? We're good? All right. We are out.
I have felt that pain before. You're sitting there in a room with someone that you just have the biggest crush on, and then here comes this little,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Because there were several moments within 16 Candles that
I was like, whoa.
his themes are always more elevated than that.
I think it's my least favorite John Hughes movie.
Yeah.
However,
Induced with an overindulgence in confidence.
And that's a running theme in Hughes stuff, right?
I'm just fascinated by her whole presence on the screen.
There's my boy.
Yeah.
What did they want? Sex.
As a young 16-year-old, I would have died.
that's an emotional swing for 24, 48 hours.
I swear, when I hear someone say extraterrestrial, sometimes I think of that scene.
Yeah. Female extraterrestrial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
female extraterrestrial.